Hello, everybody. Welcome to another amazing episode of Life Theories. We got a full house today. Cortez has been joining us. Finally, he is back, Mr. Cortez Medford from Spiritual Needs TV. We got Jay from Journey of a White Feather, or WWHealth, and the lovely Miss Diana from Trailblazers of the Universe. Welcome, everybody. Today's episode, we will be talking about the energy of the Mercury retrograde that is flowing through right now. And we will also be discussing some chakra upgrades and just healing upgrades that we've been experiencing since the full moon. I know myself, I've been doing a lot of work with this full moon. Since about 3 full moons ago, I've been really into this whole full moon ritual thing, and it's doing me so much good. Big shout out to Mia Magic on that one with like hosting these beautiful moon rituals. If you guys are into moon rituals, check her out. Like every month, she's laying down some really good shit, getting you into those really awesome nature loving witchy vibes. So I've been really feeling that, and yeah, it's been really good, really good. And I know Jay was mentioning that he's got some like heart opening stuff going on. He's been working with chakras and the Akashic records ever since we had Jackie on an episode a couple of weeks ago. So yeah, we've been doing a lot of really big healing and working with the energies around us. And let's get into it. What do you got to say, Jay?
I'll start her up. Welcome back to our podcast. I just want to do a big shout out to Di first. What a wonderful job she's doing with us getting back on Spotify. I can't believe I'm a podcaster on Spotify, to be perfectly honest, to start with. Isn't it? It's amazing.
Yeah, we just pressed the button.
But still we're up there. It's amazing. Yeah. But yeah, a couple of things come up this week with the full moon in Cancer. Hello. Wolf. Sign, hello. Spirit
That's
animal.
Wolf's my spirit animal too. I've been working a lot with wolf energy, so
I've done a bit of work with Victor. I'll do a big shout out to Victor Otto. I've done his program, and there's a reason why I got it. We did some third eye opening and stimulating. Opened up a lot of stuff. Also heart chakra healing. So I felt I was falling back into old patterns. And you don't know that you're doing it. Well, you do know you're doing it because I put you into a situation where you I guess you go back and go back to when you were in your shadow, and you just try to work it out. And one thing I'm very grateful for is the people like yourselves being around, because I mean, freaking heck, I mean, I sat there sometimes going, my God, what the hell am I doing? I got so grateful for all you guys and all my friends that put up with my, I won't swear now, crap.
It's less editing for the group, eh?
Absolutely. So I am awake at 6:30 in the morning. So I'm not that bad. But it's great. And then once you've opened up, I was going to tell you, once you've opened up those damaged chakras, which I found out there were, and especially even with the heart, actually sort of I guess it's basically stepping into the light without not any judgment, just stepping forward without thinking about things. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that has come up, and a lot of stuff that has come up and a lot of understanding of where it is. But we had turmoil last year too. So I think from about October, I pulled the Tower card in my tarot deck, and I thought, okay, things are the whole life's ending. And I think I made a big step yesterday. Yesterday, the day before, during this full moon, just to, I think, and truly accept, truly listen, and just make it a bit easier with regards to how to move forward with this great life we're going to have. So yeah, I'll let you go from there. Who's Di's gone. Big fella. That's all right. Big fella.
Yes,
the big fella. How's your videos going, mate? What
I'll start back tomorrow.
But this
is what I'm saying. Is with me,
I feel like because the energies have been sort of chaotic for the past 2 weeks, I'm just now balancing out myself again. But this year, I don't know, it just feels different this time. It feels like, because obviously I've just been tested again this weekend and I've done really well. And you know, like we can just go in cycles and old habits and old things come up, and the universe literally orchestrates and designs certain things to happen throughout your day for you, right? To make a choice, right? And it's just like the perfect things happen, so you're left with this major choice at the end of it, and it's like you could fall back into your old habits and go and have fun or whatever, or you can do the opposite and wake up in the morning and just feel so much better for it. So I've done the opposite. So it's just like it's just learning how to read your life, basically. This is what these energies are telling me. It's just how to just navigate through things. And the way I do it now is just I make a choice. Those and it doesn't have to be big. Do you know what I mean? It's little decisions throughout your day, but if you can make those little choices throughout your day that bring you a step further to where you want to be, then it's just it doesn't happen overnight, but it's like you look up and you're so much further ahead internally. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do you think, mate, like I understand, I get where you're coming from with regards to that. Do you think that we finally found the power of choice, and it's really hard to, you got this program, like you're sitting there going, I'm so used to going left, but I've suddenly gone right. And it's like, you know, it's a choice between two pieces of food. You know, you got your nice,
do you know
fatty stuff, and then you got your really healthy stuff. It's a better choice, but it's not as easy as that, is it?
You know what helps? What helps me now is the pain I've felt from making that choice before. And I can literally put myself in the future to the day after having making the wrong choice and how I feel. And it's just not worth it, essentially. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So not worth it. So no matter how my mind is conditioned to crave and want certain things anymore, I think the pain and pleasure balance system, which I've talked about in one of my videos, is tipped to the more of I don't want to experience that pain anymore. Do you know what I mean? I've experienced going around in circles, and I know if I do this specific thing, I'm going to feel like this the next day. Do you know what I mean? And I might feel good whilst I'm doing it, but I have to deal with the next day. And that's what I am getting better at doing. And these energies.
Oh, did he freeze?
He's back in. He's back in. I guess
Sorry.
what Mercury just
Yeah,
Mercury just
honestly,
Mercury always messes with us, man. Me and Jay, when we did the Mercury retrograde special, right, we did an episode and it actually like cut us off. While we were in the middle.
It's hilarious.
But when you do make those right choices, it's the energies that are now here. They truly show you that you are on the right path and right track. Just for instance, let me just give you a little. Today I left my house, right? Before I got into my car, I looked at my phone. It was 12:12. I got into my car, and on the clock in my car is wrong, and it said 11:11. And then I literally drove 20 meters down the road, and the first car I see, it said 444 on the license plate, right? And it was literally in the space of a minute. And I was just thinking to myself, look at that, man. It's amazing when you're so fucking in tune, and the universe, whatever you want to call it, shows you. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It just helps. It really does help, man.
I've been getting that a lot. Like over the last probably 3 or 4 weeks, it's like 2:22, 12:22, 1:11, 11:11. And like I'll catch 11:11 a.m. and p.m. and then 1:11 a.m. and p.m. And then I'll catch 12:22 and then 2:22. And it's like, Okay, and that's been happening every day for the last like
Well,
3 weeks. It's like
let
I do
me-
not look at the clock unless it's a double-digit number. It's
this
really
is what I'm
freaking strange.
saying.
Yeah.
What
And
is
like what you
That
were saying
alignment.
too, Cortez, about like making the choice, right? Like for me, I haven't drank in a long time. I haven't partaken in any party favors or any of that in a really long time, right? But for me, it's like I'm kind of experiencing the same things of like making the choice, right? It's not about picking up the drink, but it's about how am I going to respond. The old version of me would have allowed the triggers to come up and reacted based on my emotional triggers. But the choice that I'm making now is to react from a calm state and to allow myself to acknowledge my own triggers without expressing them outwardly, because that in itself also, it doesn't necessarily create a hangover, but it creates us like a whole array of different effects, like how other people treat and see you for the rest of the day because you had a freak out, how other people are going to respond to you throughout the day, the energy that you're putting out because you freaked out. It all combines and compiles into something not great happening because you weren't in check with your reactions. So it's like, yeah, my choice is slightly different than yours. I'm not picking up a drink. I'm choosing different words. I'm choosing different reactions, but it's still a choice that, if chosen not for the highest good, you can really put yourself on a damaging path by making that wrong choice and putting yourself in that position to really see yourself the day after. Like, where is it going to take me if I react this way? Where is it going to take me if I pick up that drink?
Really,
And like
really
really
powerful.
putting like forecasting yourself into the next day after your reaction or after your choice, and seeing where that's going to take you. What kind of life is this going to bring me to if
That's
I
it.
keep on this path, right? And then,
Honestly.
like you said, the moment that you make those choices for the better, you start seeing those synchronistic numbers. You start seeing all of those little things showing you that, hey, you're on the right path. You did make the right choice. And it's just kind of the universe giving you a nod to be like, yeah, you did the right thing.
It's
And
amazing.
Hey Sarah,
Yeah, so-
on that
yeah.
note, right?
Yeah.
On that note, that's yeah, I'm with you. I've gone sort of with the choices to do a little bit more instead of sort of stepping back because that's where I was. Saying, I can't. This probably comes with the Ashkara records as well. So, for example, you might have, you might, you wouldn't think it, but I'm very reserved in a lot of things where I sort of think, why can't I? So I'm doing exactly sort of coming from the other end, and obviously, yeah. So what do you reckon about that? So you come and say basically losing a little bit more. So you're over controlling yourself in a lot of ways. If that makes any silly sense.
If I'm picking you up correctly here, yeah, that does make sense. It's sort of like you're like, is it that you're like acknowledging your like you're just making all of these choices and like acknowledging where
Okay,
you're
for
at,
example,
like,
yeah. For example, I think that you're making where you make the choice to say, like you say, you pick up that drink, right? Now I'm going to a point where, as I said, knowing about my Ashkari records, it makes so much sense. So even going to the beach yesterday, I wouldn't have done that. I would have made some bloody excuse not to do it, but it was so good for me in that way. So I'm making good choices in that way. You see, if you can see where we're at, a lot of people make that. You get where I'm going. So there's a lot of people making that choice for the betterment of themselves, and then there's people making the choice because they won't pick up the drink because they know how it affects. So it's the same thing. So the effect of the going to the beach was magnificent. So you have the same sort of thing. So a lot of people might be going through that way in this time as well.
Yeah, like there's a lot of different choices a person can make, right? And it's whatever space you're in is the choice that's right for you. So I can't tell you picking up that drink no matter what all the time is going to be the bad choice. Some people can have one drink and it doesn't affect them. Some people absolutely, like, if there was a specific circumstance when someone's just completely dysregulated, completely out of it, and like you can't even sit them down to talk to them to calm them down. Yeah, mate, have a drink. Sorry, I swear. but just one, just one. You know what I mean? Like, don't make the choice to like drink your sorrows away on that. But like, if you're so dysregulated, you can't even have a conversation, and you need something to bring yourself down, whether that be, you know, a drink or you know, like food or whatever it may be, a glass of water. Everybody's got their ways to like regulate themselves, right? Like, and that's okay. I'm never going to demonize somebody for making a choice, even if they're overindulging. I'm not going to demonize you for that. That's your choice. That's your body and your life, right? But when you're constantly making these decisions, if you feel good about it in the moment and the next day, and you can look back on that moment in a week and you still feel good about it, then you made the right choice. But if at any point during that process, whether you're in it, after it, or like a week later, and you're feeling the effects of that and you feel bad about it at all, that's where you got to check yourself and be like, next time I'm going to make a different choice, because doing that made me feel this way 6 days later. And now I have regrets and I'm feeling kind of down on myself. And I wish I didn't do that. And rather than having those thoughts next time after something big happens, maybe I'll make a better choice or a different choice and choose a little bit more, something a little bit more aligned that's not going to make me feel down on myself 3 days later, or the very next day, or an hour later. Like, making a choice that's right for you. I don't know if Jay is frozen like that, or if he was just sitting with his legs covered.
What are your thoughts?
It was so distracting. I was like, are you frozen?
No, frozen yet.
Oh,
That's funny.
It's
amazing with the choice, isn't it? Like,
yeah,
the choices that we make, like, it's a scary thing to actually go against your programming in a lot of ways. I mean, you know, this is where a lot of you drive yourself a little bit crazy, because you go to the pattern that you're used to, and you are going to a new pattern, and then your head's sort of in that space going, like, because you're actually throwing your own algorithm out, aren't you?
Yeah, basically.
I think one of the big things with it is not like, so we talk about your programming, right? So it's like, even when I used to go to NA and stuff like that, right? You know, it's, and even with society, right? When you're trying to quit something, it's like, oh, I shouldn't do this, or hey, I'm spiritual. Some people say I shouldn't drink, I shouldn't do this, I shouldn't eat these foods, I shouldn't do this. But that might be like the programming, but it might be completely different for you. Maybe that person that was like a hard drug addict, maybe smoking marijuana every once in a while is okay to keep them chill, so they're not out of control, just kind of mellows them out a little bit. Maybe some people can have a drink. You know, I'm not totally with the NA stuff with, they said you can, you know, completely sober, but like, I mean, and then they'll smoke a bunch of cigarettes, so that's a whole other thing, but they're okay with that. But then like drinking is the thing. I was like, dude, if you're having a glass of wine every once in a while and hard drugs were your thing, and the wine is just taking your edge off a little bit, and it's not causing any like catastrophic effects in your life, I don't see what the problem is with that. And even not even just with substances, with other things in life, like, you know, I think we're too busy comparing ourselves. I shouldn't do this, I shouldn't do that, and that's a self-sabotage. And then you beat yourself up, and then you feel bad, and then you do it more. When I used to relapse and stuff, I was like, all right, I already did, so I don't care. I'm just gonna go. I might as well go hard and just go all the way. You know, that was kind of my mindset. But it's just like, okay, like, oh, it's too late. I already relapsed, you know, because I had that programming. Oh, I have to start at day 0 again, or, oh, F it, I might as well just go on a binge. You know, that was my, and of course, that was kind of crazy. But it's not just that. Anything you're trying to stop in life, like, sometimes I'm more of an alternative person. I kind of find other ways to do things. I don't do like what the normal people do, because it doesn't, most of the stuff that works for normal people does not work for me. I have to find my own way that helps me, and it doesn't always have to be the programming, or, oh, you shouldn't do this, you need to do this. No, I mean, it's not one size fits all. Everyone's brain works differently. the way they feel works differently.
That's the craziest thing about it. Is everyone's brain works differently, just like that.
And like you can't really like have somebody else tell you what's best for you, right? Like if you're going through the motions and someone's like, this is going to be really good for you, and you're doing it, but you feel like trash, or you something inside of you doesn't feel right while you're doing it. It might be good for them, but that means it's not good for you. And if you're feeling that, it's time to stop doing that. Just because they said it's going to be good for you, if you're not feeling it inside, if something feels off, stop doing it, because that's not good for you.
It's not sustainable. It's not going to be sustainable.
If you're forcing yourself to do something that your body is kind of giving you signs to stop, or it's fighting against, you're going to start to damage the trust that you have within yourself, because your body is trying to say no to something, but you keep kind of forcing that situation on it because somebody else told you it was going to be good for you. So don't listen to other people. Listen to what your body wants. If you're feeling uncomfortable in an action, if you're feeling uncomfortable in a pattern, if you're feeling uncomfortable consuming something or not consuming something, listen to your body. And listen to that before you listen to other people tell you what's good for you. Your body will always know where you need to be putting your
when I'm eating those sweets and I'm my body's telling me this is not good for you, but I'm still doing it.
You're like,
I think even in like, making decisions in yourself, like you're used to using a pattern, like say Russell Brand. The big thing I learned from him is all the emotions within us is one word, comes down to one word. So if you break everything down, break all the layers down to get an idea where you're at. So it's like you can say insecurity, like you go work with your inner child. Say, for example, why are you acting a certain way, insecurity or self-confidence or whatever. So you can work that out, and then you can start working up and go, okay, how do I get like this? So, and it's good to have the guidance with regards to it. And it's just, it's just the process. And I think a lot of people don't go through the process because at the end of the day, when you go and have your bad times or you have these freak out moments, you're not safe. And I think a lot of people don't want to let themselves go because they don't want to be judged or they're not safe. And we thank the universe every day that we're all together. You have a good bunch of people that accept you for who you are. And so you can actually go through those times with particular people and not be judged.
And it's about trial and error. You don't learn. How many times did I relapse before I finally decided it was enough? I like Cortez said, I went through enough suffering. I finally just said, this suffering is ridiculous and it's causing me so many problems, and I felt that way multiple times, but eventually just like, this shit sucks. And this is not what I want. So, I mean, you have to, it's okay to fail. And there's really not a failure if you learn anyway. Like, people, like, I made a mistake, and people are so worried about what other people think. And, but trial and error is how you learn anything. And with repetition, you're reprogramming your subconscious mind to respond differently. When you've been responding that way for the past 10 years, maybe it's a certain behavior similar or reaching out for something or something like that. It's like your brain, of course, is going to go to that. That's all it's known. So you keep doing even that one time you do something different. Every time you do something different, then that's another way to hack the brain with the dopamine, right? So on the opposite, what you talked about dopamine before, right? I actually get a dopamine hit when like, oh, I didn't use today. Or I didn't drink today, or I didn't. I actually ate healthy today. You know, as you get a little dopamine hit, it's kind of like you completed a task. So that's another way that I kind of find.
Little, like being proud of yourself.
It's like you're doing the opposite. Like, wow, even if it's a little, I don't care. I don't care if it's I ate a vegetable today. I don't give a shit if it's I smoked one last cigarette. Whatever it is that you're trying to like do differently. I exercise. Like for me, I've been fitting exercise more. And I walked around the freezing cold today. I didn't feel like this morning, but I forced myself. And I was like, oh, good. And then it gives you a little of that confidence boost, and then you will keep wanting to do it again because you're feeding your brain like the dopamine. It's kind of like a hack.
That's what people misunderstand about this game called life is, like Dana said, she walked around in the cold. She didn't feel like doing it, but she done it anyway. That right there automatically that's Diana telling herself that she is in control of the show, and no matter whether her mind doesn't want to do it, you're doing it. And
it's
after you
having
do
physical discipline.
It's the physical action. Sometimes your physical has to work because your mind will come up with a million. Your mind's like, oh, we don't usually do this. Oh, it's early. Oh, it's freezing. I did freeze my ass off, but you know what? I knew that it was going to have better long-term effects. I was starting to, this talk about the Cancer full moon and everything, wolf moon, my emotions have been like crazy, and like I'll be really happy and I'll be like happy and laughing, and in the same minute I'd start crying. Like I'm literally to that point. And I feel like I've gone like completely like I mean, I know I'm processing a lot of different things they're going on, many different levels in my life, but I literally feel like I'm insane, and I'm like, man, dude. So I did something a little bit out. I knew that exercising, even if it was cold, it would kind of be a shock to my system, and it actually did for the rest of the day. I'm not saying I felt great the rest of the day, but I felt a lot better than if I didn't. So it's kind of picking
it's doing those little things.
Yeah.
That ingrain those habits into your life,
and you keep doing it,
and keep
it's
doing
almost
it.
like
something small, and it becomes bigger, and then you're like, oh, that felt good, that wasn't that bad, and then you'll do more the next time. It just
that's it.
That's
it.
It kind of ties into like some of the exercises that I've been doing recently, like going back to, I don't know if it was you or Jay that said the feeling of being unsafe, right? I noticed, and like what Jay was saying earlier in the episode about how he noticed himself slipping. Like I took over the last couple of days, I've been taking good stock of like my year last year. I had a friend of mine point out to me very gently that my words don't always match my actions, and she had noticed that. And I started writing down all of the ways last year that my words didn't match my actions. And I broke down crying because the list was way longer than I wanted it to be. And I honestly could have kept writing, and that really broke my heart. And it's like, as someone who's, a spiritual worker, I'm, trying my best to like live with integrity and, just do all of these things, not just for myself, but for other people, and realizing that I had let myself down last year, and I had kept myself in a situation that literally made me feel unsafe, but I kept ignoring it. And that made me act out in a lot of really different ways. And with this energy of the new moon or the full moon coming in, coincidentally, it's the wolf moon. And I just found out that I have a very strong wolf guide that's been hanging out with me quite a bit.
Welcome to the club.
Yeah, we're wolf buddies.
I can't believe it's the wolf moon, because I literally bought a dog 2 days ago.
Oh, that's awesome.
Honestly, man, sorry.
But yeah, like the whole energy of the moon, and like realizing all of this stuff about last year, and like where last year had really taken me, and kind of like what Diana was saying about the addictions. It's like you don't realize that you're in that until, like it's like you're doing it and you kind of realize it, but you don't, and like you're just going with the motions, right? Like I feel like that was me all last year. I wasn't doing drugs, but I was addicted to like damaging behaviors. I was addicted to reacting to things in a certain way. Like it wasn't good. And with this new moon energy or full moon energy, I don't know why I keep saying new moon, full moon, like I've really started to take account of how I can be more gentle with myself about these things, and how I can really reparent myself around all of these issues, how I can make myself feel safe again, how I can make myself feel trusted again, how I can do all of these things to give myself that nurturing, loving care that I didn't always get from my mom growing up. When I was younger, I always had this like vision of what a mom should be in my head. And it was like kind of like a mix between my best friend's mom and little bits of my mom, but like mostly this whole other idea that I had in my head. So now I'm like, I'm treating myself from the place of I'm that mother that I created in my childhood that I always wanted. And I'm treating myself the way she would treat me. So I'm really using this full moon energy to super like fall into the energy of nurturing myself and giving myself that support and safety and gentleness that I denied myself for a really long time.
I honestly do that a lot, and I do that with traumatic experiences that come up from years ago, and I will visually go back to the child that was whatever situation it was, and I'll go back as myself, as myself now, my higher self, or just some older version of myself, and I will comfort that my younger self whilst he's going through whatever it was. And when I come out of it, I feel like when I then think about that same thing again, the emotional charge it had before dissipates, it dissolves. Do you know what I mean? So I'm not triggered by it as much. So it's like my higher self is self-soothed my younger self.
Yeah.
Back in the past, you know what I mean? And
yeah, I actually did a meditation last night with that exact same thing, and it was really strange because in the meditation, I'm pretty sure, maybe it doesn't matter how it happens, but in the meditation, he says, see the child, like see yourself there experiencing the emotion. But I kept switching back and forth between seeing the child in front of me and being the child.
Yeah.
And it was like through one meditation, it was like I was the child and seeing the child, like transfer back and forth like 6 different times. And like I let out so much
crazy
emotion. And like that was one of the most profound inner child meditations I've ever done. If you're looking for it, it's the Steve Nobel meditation. Just look up Steve Nobel inner child. It'll be the first one that comes up. Maybe we could put a link to it, Diana, because like I love Steve. He's freaking great. He's been helping me a lot.
You know, I'm all about the inner child stuff.
Yeah. No, it was a beautiful meditation, and it really like it tied into like all my mothering myself things, because like I was consoling the child, but I was also feeling the emotions of me as that child. And it was like I was comforting myself but watching myself at the same time, and it was the most powerful thing I've ever experienced. And I feel like since I did that, in that meditation as well, it says to like call in your guides, call in your angels, put them around the child, like invite them to stand around the child and let the child see how supported they are. And that in itself, just putting myself in, like what I did was I chose a period of time when I was actually in the hospital as a kid, feeling alone, like, well, are people ever going to come visit me? Am I ever going to get out of here? Why is my life like this? That feeling. So I had all the angels surrounding the hospital bed while I was a child. And it was like, honestly, I feel like I had this really interesting flashback where I put myself back in that space as a child and I could actually see them. And it was like, I almost felt like I was in a time warp. Like I was in the bed as the child, but I was here as my higher self. It was the most profound thing I'd ever done. And feeling that protection around me as a child really like solidified how protected I actually am. And putting myself as a child in that space of protection helped me to really understand the level of protection, not just I have, but all of us.
Every single one of us.
Just because as a kid, I didn't realize they were all there, doesn't mean that they weren't there. And just feeling how many angels and guides were actually there for me, that was also really crazy. So like to feel that nurtured and that comforted, was something really profound. And all this new moon, full moon stuff, it's a lot. It's a lot. It's very emotional.
Off topic quickly. Has anyone ever dreamt before, right? And then you actually know that you're dreaming.
Yep.
You actually know you're in a dream.
And you take over the dream, and then you're like, lucid dream.
Consciously in the dream. I think it's been happening.
I was flying.
Astral,
Oh my God. I used to do it. I used to do it when I was younger a lot, but
I
it's just
try a lot too.
the other night happened,
I
and
still do.
in my dream, I said to myself, "This is a dream."
Yep, and you take control over it, and
And
you can do it the you want. That's the best
do
part.
Oh my god, it was so.
I would go like
fucking
talk
good.
to different guys. Like I remember I like did I had like confidence. I had one where I was like, oh, I can like talk to all these different. There's all these cute guys, and like I had confidence. It was weird shit. It's like I wouldn't do that in real life, but
Honestly,
I took over. I'm not gonna go into the details of all that, but yeah,
that is
like,
mad.
weird.
I would love to know the science behind that, and just like
lucid dreaming. That's called lucid dreaming.
I know it's lucid dreaming, but I would just love to. It's a bit like
astral projection.
Astral projection. It's a bit like astral projection as well. I suppose, isn't it?
Astral projection. Let's
When
talk
you
about
fly,
that.
Yeah, galaxy girl. That's what I do. That's
In
my
it,
thing.
my sister does that a lot. You know, she astral projects to the point where I think her doctors was like, "Who's gonna go to the doctors? Because it's quite dangerous." Do you know what I mean? And the thing with her, she does it. She has no control over it. She'll be watching TV, and the next minute she's
it's like that.
in the next minute she was in the operating room on the operating table with extraterrestrials around her, and one of them was like, "Oh, she's waking up, quick!" And then they all started panicking and that. And then she come back into the room, but she's like she went through this tunnel and it just shoots her back into the room where she was. Wow. And I was like, you know, sis.
Yeah, this world is not what we think it is, man.
Crazy, man.
Put it this way: you're out, you're getting your new, all your new patterns. I think Diana put another meme up there, meme queen, galaxy girl, whatever you want to call it. But there was a meme like your old self is really trying to hang on to your new self, but this new moon and the retrograde and all that is really pushing forth your fears. And like Sarah said, she's yelling and screaming and all that kind of stuff. But your fears are coming forward. You've got all this good stuff. And the only thing, as Jackie said to me, the biggest fear is for me is not fear, but the thing I'm doing is self-sabotaging. Now, I know why. There's a lot of past life contracts. Yeah. There's a lot of other stuff that's happened that make absolute sense. But you're getting to a point where you're sort of that how you're at, and basically self-sabotaging myself from having this really good stuff. And so now it's a case of actually fighting yourself and fighting those urges. And it is an addiction in some ways.
Trust me, that's it, Jay. I think exactly what you just said. I think we get presented with an opportunity when times like this come. You get presented with an opportunity to either level up or go backwards. And I think sometimes when it's time for you to really level up, then that's when you have it the hardest. And it's like, right, now you're going to really be tested, because if you can pass this, then we're going to level you up. And cycles. I
think you're leveling up anyway. Now you're leveling up, but you got no choice. Like you
do have a choice. You do have a choice.
You do have a choice. There's a lot of people.
I should say, hang on. I'll put it to you this way. Not having a choice. I mean by this way is we are ascending so damn quick. We have a choice to let this thing go. That's what I'm saying. We have no choice to letting go and having that and making the choice to actually you can either hang on and stay back where you were, or you go, you feel it and you go, you've just got to make that, and you've got to make that choice within yourself to go, right, this is a new path. It's bloody uncomfortable, but we've just got to go, mate. We're ascending so damn quick. And this is why it's probably freaking a lot of us out. Well, it's freaking me out that we're making these things. But when the moon did come out, it actually calmed me down when I just wrote down my stuff from my work that I had to do with Jackie. And I'm just simplifying things, not overthinking things. I used to overthink and control things. I'm just going to let it go, and whatever happens. You don't want to be feeling those negative vibes all the time. But that's to do with the esoteric records as well, having those past life contracts and stuff. But simplifying it, I've got my book of stuff to do in the morning.
So, gang, what would you say we'll go on each person. What would you say would be the best tip to navigate these uncertain times, especially in Mercury retrograde? That's can be so frustrating, and especially when you're aware. When you're not aware, you just think shit's happening because you're a bad person or whatever. But when you're actually aware of Mercury retrograde, it's like, right. Sometimes you anticipate for things to happen. Sometimes you just allow things to just flow, like Jay said. But what would you say is your best tip personally? Something that you do from day to day that helps you deal with these energies. Start with Diana.
Oh goodness. Well, first of all, we do it, with any full moon. Full moon is more about releasing, right? And then we have the Mercury retrograde, which is bringing stuff up from the past. And then so the full moon is in Cancer, so that's going to bring up more emotions than usual. But on a good note, your intuition's more on point, right? So I just want to put that little thing out there. I think my thing with me is a lot of times we want to resist when this stuff comes up. What resists persists, right? It's going to keep tapping you on the shoulder, What's up? It's that shadow, part of that shadow that's still left. So I'm just getting in a habit of more of allowing, not controlling everything. It sounds simple, but it's actually a lot harder because it's uncomfortable. It's like, oh, I don't want to feel, I want to go distract myself, and I'm going to go make a YouTube video. I'm going to go do a bunch of work. I'm going to go work out. I'm going to go do this. And sometimes I even meditate to distract myself from feeling it. Sometimes I'll even do like those things to distract myself, but then it comes up more. So I'm just like, all right, let me just give myself time to allow this emotion, whatever is bothering me, just to feel it fully. And if I need to cry, if I need to go, I'm not trying to say be violent or something, but if you need to like punch something, not someone, but like, if you, whatever you need to do.
Find a punching bag.
Yeah, it needs to be, I used to do kickboxing, that actually really helped me after I went to rehab, but anyway, it helped me a lot actually. But I'm just like, what's this trying to tell me? Like, I actually did a thing, I don't know if you had told me, Sarah, before, or I did meditation before, it's been a mix of different things where you allow the emotion come up and you ask it, I know it sounds crazy, ask it like, what are you trying to tell me, or what's the problem?
Mm-hmm.
Instead of this extreme emotion. Yeah, I think I found another. Yeah, there's a few different people that have told me that.
There's a couple people that say that.
But no, it's actually really good, and you're like, man, we were talking about emotions, and I actually got an answer. Then shit gets weird because like what comes up on a because it will come up right away if you allow, but we don't want to hear it because sometimes it's painful, it's hurtful. But I had something come up, and I was like, man, that's it. I'm not that I'm talking to myself, but like mentally, I'm like, okay, what do you have to tell me? Instead of, oh, I don't want to feel this. Oh, I have to get angry, cry. It's like just a gentle. Kind of like we're treating your inner child, like you would treat your child, like what, and it probably is something an inner child wound anyway. I'll bet you any money. It's maybe something to do with unworthiness, or you didn't get emotional validation or something. So I'm like, what do you want? In a nice way, not like what do you want, but like, what do you have to tell me? Just calm and allow the answer to come up. The first answer is it's like there, and then I'm like, oh shit, that's all. Or not, that's all, but like, but like it manifests as some crazy things because you kept ignoring it. And you kept resisting
so basically, what I've taken from that, Diana, is that don't run from what is trying to come up.
So where
do not distract yourself from the now, because that's what we like to do. We like to run for the now moment to distract ourselves from whatever else is coming up. So Dan is saying, don't distract yourself. Try and sit with whatever's trying to come up and try and ask yourself, your subconscious mind, go into meditation like Diana said, and try and ask yourself what needs to be done, or what do you need, or what do I need in this moment now.
You can say you don't have to be like you because it is private, but whatever feels more comfortable. Whatever. Yeah.
You can use you can use you.
Some
can
people might have a problem with
you can talk directly
whatever resonates with you.
Yeah, exactly.
But just try and be more present to the moment and try not to run away from what's coming up.
Yeah.
And it sounds like a little child, like it's something that like that like a child, like obviously I'm working a lot of this inner child stuff, and I realized that my self-talk to myself is a lot of how my dad talked to me when I was a kid, or like my parents. I realized I was like, oh my gosh, that's how I talk to myself. The guy I'm with, whatever he said, so how would you talk to your friend if your friend came to you with that problem, like whatever your inner child, whatever, how would you talk to them? You would not talk to them like that. I was like, I'm rude to myself. I'm like very critical. I'm like, man, what now? Like, come on, like chill the F out. Like, I literally am kind of like rude to my self-talk. Like, when I'm trying to do with problems, I'm kind of like more harder. Like, I'm like, damn, man, give me a little
it's almost
nicer.
It almost sounds like you're treating yourself like you're a narcissist, like saying, why do you feel that way? Like, you shouldn't be feeling that way.
And my dad was a narcissist, so yeah, there you go.
Denying yourself the feelings, or making yourself feel bad for feeling what you're feeling, and trying to like, what's that word? All that shit. But yeah.
What's your tip, Jay?
Well, I always make the joke about hating this bloody time, but it gives you the greatest rewards. It really does. I hate it. All right, I hate it.
You hate nothing.
I hate it.
Such an ugly
I wish
word.
I could grab the planet and stomp on it.
Bloody retrograde. Say it. Bloody retrograde.
I wish I could sit it in a spot.
Say it 5 times in the mirror.
Bloody retrograde. That episode I called it bloody retrogrades because you said it so many times.
Go look up a spike pile drive. That's what I want to do sometimes. Okay. Thanks a lot for our session here on Life Theories, Mercury retrograde, full moon, Cancer moon. Thanks very much for everyone for listening. You can catch us on Spotify and all other media platforms, on YouTube, and also on Instagram on Life Theories Podcast. It's got a couple of little dashes as well. But if you want to jump on one of our individual ones, which is mine, Journey of a White Feather, White Warrior Health 2004. Then you got Trailblazers of the Universe with Diana, Cortez Medford, of course, the big Batman over there, Spiritual Needs TV, and Small Sarah Big Soul, our Mother Earth, she's doing a little dance now. Look at this. Oh, my God. Look out. I'll tell you what, she packs a punch, this woman. I'll tell you. Thanks very much for being part of Life Theories. We'll see you next week. And again, please spread the word and make sure you live your best life, because we are. And if you want to be the best you can, just be what you need to be.